One of the joys of doing this show is having the opportunity to talk to some of my favorite celebrity friends about important health issues. And I can recall when Straight Talking Judge Judy came on. She gives no-nonsense decisions on her TV court show. She's done it for 25 years, but she shared her health challenges with us. Judge Judy told us that her whole family never went to the doctor until her mother became ill, and that changed how she faces health concerns. And it's her story of suffering what is believed to have been a transient ischemic attack, more commonly known as a mini stroke, that could help save your life. If you don't mind, tell us the story, what happened. How'd you figure it out?
Well, I don't think I figured it out. You know, I, like you, work in front of 6 cameras. And the camera people noticed my slurred speech. So they called the paramedics, and certainly by the time I got to the hospital, I felt fine. And they put me on something called Plavix, which I've been on now for 2 years. Afraid to get off because who knows? And
so
feel terrific. So I learned from that experience that life is an unknown for me. I'm not really good and vigilant as I should be about keeping up to date with my medical tests and going for annual checkups and that sort of thing. Because I think that we all have a DNA program in our body. You can change that. Modify it a little bit if you behave yourself. If you exercise every day, which I do, 3 miles a day on the treadmill, light weights, I keep my muscle mass, keep your posture straight. You know, keep your posture straight.
Judge Judy has guns.
Guns. And remain limber, you know.
Well, you say you've not been a big advocate of getting preventive screening and the like, but, you know, and I don't know if your family does or not, but you've had health issues. Every family has had those issues. How do you change your health destiny, in your opinion? I mean, you lost your mom when she was younger than you are now.
My mother was 57.
57. And
my father was 71. My mother died from misdiagnosed colon cancer. And she was always healthy. My parents were slim, and my father was most vigilant about his diet. He had a gallbladder condition, and he didn't want to have his gallbladder removed in those days because that was a big deal. It was a big deal. So when I started to have some signs in my 30s of a similar situation, he said to me, no bacon, no eggs, no fat. He said, if we have a congenital predisposition to gallbladder problems, change your diet, which I did when I was in my mid-30s. And it's been fine.
You know, well, I love that you're pointing out, and I wish I'll make a point. First of all, getting screened is part of what you need to do in life, whether you have a genetic risk or not. And we all know that, right? Judge, Judy, tell them to get a colonoscopy.
Oh, I do get colonoscopies. I get them now every 5 years, but that is the one kind of cancer that I know of that you can become completely cancer-free if you catch it early enough.
It's just a matter of testing. So age 50, you all remember this, or if you got a family history, 10 years before that. Now, I point these out because when I look at you and I see my future, I hope to be like you. So let me just orient you here. You got the brain up top, the heart's down here, and these are the blood vessels that are perfusing the brain with oxygen and nutrients, right? Let's look at what happens inside the body during a mini stroke. Inside this artery, right, the carotid artery, it supplies the brain with blood. You see all these blood cells flowing around. But let's look at the wall of that artery. See this wall here? There's a little fragile area, plaque, right? And that clot will sometimes, boom, break off. And that plaque will fly all the way up into the brain, right? Now that it's broken off, it gets up in the brain and it sticks right there. See that thing? Now, you get a big bruise, like someone punched you there, right? And that's because the blood is beginning to back up behind the clot. And this clot will prevent any part of the brain from getting what it needs. But sometimes the clot breaks away. You get lucky. And that returns blood flow to the brain. And now look what happens. That dark area suddenly, almost miraculously, gets back to normal. Ugh, it's joy. All of a sudden, everything starts working again. Right? And you feel much better than you did as your symptoms resolve on their own. Now, this is a mini stroke because it got better on its own. But obviously, it's a warning because if it didn't get better on its own, it would have been a big stroke. So it's a warning that you may have a bigger stroke in your future. So you want to prevent this from happening. Like most chronic diseases, the usual applies. You want to exercise more, drink less alcohol, quit smoking, all that. And I want you also to stay away from a very specific diet choice, saturated fats. If you eat too much of the steak, right, the bacon, cheese, butter, right, these are packed with saturated fats. They may raise our body's total cholesterol levels and cause inflammation, right? And that cholesterol builds up in the arteries, like I showed you, increasing the risk of something breaking off and causing that ischemic stroke. Instead, Eat foods that are unsaturated fats, like salmon, which you know I adore, avocados, nuts, olive oils. Guys, I'm not torturing you. These foods are eaten by the whole planet, and it's allowed the folks to survive without strokes, so you might want to give it a shot. Now, if you think you or a loved one is experiencing a stroke, remember this acronym, right? It's FAST, F-A-S-T. You want to act fast, but what does FAST stand for? Well, F is for face. You'll get a facial droop. When you smile, only half your face will actually work because the other half is paralyzed from that little mini stroke you're suffering from. Your arms will be weak. You put your arms up, and only one side will go up when you tell the person to raise their arms because they can't move the other side. Their speech will become slurred. You won't be able to make the words right because you can't form those words in your mouth. The muscles aren't working correctly. And time is critical. Right? So go to our website for more information on how to identify a stroke and to prevent a stroke. And check out Judge Judy's new show streaming on IMDb TV, Judy Justice. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on new videos to live the good life.